Hey, wait a second. I'm getting word here. George, this is for you. George Takei, everybody, who's here with us for the week. He's the voice of the Howard Stern Show now. I got word that Gary arranged for the real Governor Schwarzenegger to speak with you.
You're kidding.
No, for real.
Really?
Yeah, for real.
I'm very dubious.
Does anyone know what line the governor's on, or did I blow it? Oh, okay, got it.
19, Howard.
Thank you. George, the governor heard about what happened and said he would speak to you. He's not afraid to. That was the word we got.
That's great.
Governor?
Howard.
Hi.
How are you?
Mr. Governor, we did a prank earlier in the week on Tuesday to George Takei. I know your office has been informed, and thank you for calling in. It's an honor.
Right.
And by the way, how are you feeling?
Well, I'm okay, Howard. I appreciate that. I want to tell you also congratulations. I know this is your first week, so I'm very, very happy for you. And I apologize. It's kind of early, and obviously I'm still recuperating, but thank you so much for having me on.
George Takei would like to just take up one. I won't take up a lot of your time. I'm going to give him his chance to speak to the real Governor Schwarzenegger, because I feel like a heel for setting you up with fake Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes, yes.
George, you're on, and feel free to speak to the governor.
Mr. Governor, it's very early in the morning for you, so I appreciate your getting up and getting on the phone. As you know, as Howard's told you, I've been duped by an impersonator.
Yeah, you know about the impersonator, right?
Right. And you know, George, I have to tell you, it's pretty crazy. I know. I'm sorry that you went through that.
As a matter of fact,
well, it was great fun when I realized what was happening. But,
you know, George, it's funny because one time, and Mr. Governor, you know this, I had the fake Arnold on, and he came on and said he wanted to blow up the moon to get rid of women's periods. And there was a guy on CNBC who actually reported on it and said he thought that you were crazy because you wanted to blow up the moon. And, so George, you're not the only one who's been duped. All right, so go ahead, speak to the governor. Get to your issue, please.
The conversation that I had with him is about the same-sex marriage bill and your veto of it. I really thought that you were going to sign it because of the various statements that you made during the campaign and the fact that, you know, you've been working in the motion picture business and you've worked with gays and lesbians and you know the kind of relationship that we have with each other. It's, you know, it's just like any other relationship.
Governor, do you care to comment on whether or not you would rule in favor of same-sex marriage?
Are you sorry about...
Absolutely.
You will.
Well, let me say something, George. I appreciate what you're saying, and I want you to know something that, you know, we have done everything that we could do to support gay people. Of course, obviously, everybody has a right to what you're talking about. This is very important. The problem is that at the time, my hands are tied by Prop 22. Do you know about Proposition 22?
Of course I do, yes.
But here's the thing. Back in 2000, the people voted. They said that they did not want gay marriage. The people voted for this. And it was a difficult decision for me, George. I was not saying that gays could not be married, because I don't think that's right. They should be allowed to, obviously. What I want to do is put it on the ballot again. You know, it's 5 years later. Maybe people have changed their mind. I think that obviously the attitudes are different today, maybe than they were 5 years ago. I don't know. But
what do you think of that, George? What do you think of that? The governor is saying, look, it's really up to the people as to whether or not.
Well,
but I think people elect a governor. Can I weigh in on this? I think people elect a governor not to keep asking for a majority vote. They put their faith in the governor to make decisions, even sometimes decisions that aren't the most popular. If we ran government where everything had to be majority rules, you wouldn't even see black people voting in this country.
And we have a system called representative government, where our legislature represents the people of the will of the people of the state.
So, Governor,
and they voted.
They voted Arnold Schwarzenegger. Governor,
they voted for the gay marriage bill,
a same-sex marriage bill, which passed in the legislature, which was an historic event.
Governor,
let me say something. You know, George, in Massachusetts, it was the state Supreme Court which allowed gay and lesbian couples to wed. If we had signed this bill, we would be the first state to be legalizing this by the legislature. And
we would have made history. And you could have made history.
Well, listen, George, let me say this to you. I understand what you're saying, and I totally agree with you. And it's a different tone right now in the administration. I would be willing to work with you on this. George, you know, you should be more active on this because you should use your celebrity status to endorse this. I think people like to hear this from you, and maybe we can work together.
I have been very vocal on this.
Well, George, I believe you just got the governor to agree to sit down with you and begin working on this so that he may pass historic legislation.
Right.
How are you feeling?
I would be very happy, more than enthusiastic
so why
about
not,
working
why
with
not
you.
thank the governor and
yes.
say, and say that now the two of you will be working side by side, two great Hollywood icons, you, of course, being Mr. Sulu, and, of course, the Terminator here being, the governor. And now you are going to work side by side.
We're not going to terminate here. We will continue. And, yes, Mr. Governor, thank you very much for this statement that you've made. And I would love to work with you.
Do you feel good now that the real governor has spoken with you?
Is this the real governor?
Governor?
Is this really you, Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Of course, yes, of course.
You know, I know you've called in here often, but there have been many impersonators.
Governor, is there something you want to say at this time?
Well, you know, I also want to say something to you, George, and very important.
Yes.
I want to say to you that even though we've had this discussion, I just want to let you know that and remind you that shit happens, George.
What do you mean by shit happens?
Duped again.
What is that, Governor?
You've been taken for a ride, you son of a bitch.
Howard,
Governor, how many times do you think we can dupe George before the end of the day?
Let me tell you something. We should just do this for 3 weeks in a row. The son of a bitch will never know the difference.
Right. We'll keep doing it over and over and over again. Right. All right. Thank you, Governor.
No,
Thank
never.
you so much.
Never again. I will never believe you, Howard. I was going to say, Howard, I would run you for governor of New York's state. If this were real, I would come here and I would buy a condo here in New York and campaign for you.
I thought you were saying, I'm going to buy a condom here.
Well, I'll do that too.
He's going to buy a condom and cornhole me. All right, Mr. Governor, thank you.
Thank you so much, Howard.
All right, George, bye-bye.
We have George Pataki on the line.
Shattered.
Hold on, George. Yes, Governor George Pataki, Artie's right, is on the phone.
Hello, George. This is Governor Pataki. I want to help out a whole bunch of gay guys. I'm very liberal in the gay area, honestly. So let's work together, okay? George, are you there? This is George Pataki. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah.
How are you?
I grew up on a farm. I don't know if you knew that, and I can tell you firmly that shit does happen.
Shit does indeed happen on this show as well.
All right. I got to take a quick break. We'll be back right after these words.
Please.
Yes.